Hi, everyone, and welcome to International Intention Day. I am excited to be holding this space for everyone and just welcoming all of you to join me here today. I want to give some time for people to show up and start holding this space together with me. Hi, Denise. So good to see you. This is so exciting, everyone. This is an amazing global transformation taking place today, and I'm just welcoming everybody to come on and join us and to give people a little bit of time to find the live and come in and settle in today. Let's see. All right. Right, I see that Denise has joined. I'm seeing, I see Shannon. This is awesome. Hi, Shan. Hello. Hi, everyone. Wow. What an amazing moment to be hosting International Intention Day today. Really thinking of all of our entire global community today and all of the reactivity that everybody has been in and all the challenges everybody's been experiencing, and just really holding an important space today to make an incredibly resonating effect. And with that, I'm just so glad for people to be coming on and starting to join and helping me hold this space of international intentionality. Right, something I know we will all serve today and something we will all benefit from. And again, I'm going to be giving it some moments here for people to be showing up. Oh, great, Eric is there. Wonderful. We have a lot of people registered for the event, so I'm hoping I'm intending for people to come on. Krista, hi there. Good to see you. Lovely. Awesome. Jenny Viva! Love you and kisses too. Oh, awesome. Okay. This wonderful crew that cares so much about humanity. And Lucy, welcome. Hi, everyone. So good to see you, Miss Erica. Oh, this is awesome. All right, we're at 12:05, so... Oh boy, I'm hearing myself in the other room because my husband's on. So let's see here what we're gonna do about that. I'm not expecting to hear the feedback of my own self. Okay. One moment. Let me get that shifted before we jump in and get started. All right. All right. So awesome. Okay, Cecilia. Oh, love it. Okay, good. All right, awesome. So as we're waiting for some folks to join, we're going to wait just a few more moments, everyone. I just want to invite everybody to just to begin connecting to yourselves and to begin connecting to what it means to live a life of consistent intentionality, right? What it means to make a shift from being in a state of reactivity where most of us don't even know what reactivity is. We think that we know what it is, and we think it's something that's very obvious to us, but in a lot of ways, we might at times not realize when we're in reactivity, and yet we all certainly tend to know when other people are in reactivity. And then really, there's a lot of reactivity that happens within other people and ourselves that we don't completely recognize. And this, the type of reactivity that can really really take us off track and take us in directions where we can be thinking to ourselves, like, how did I get here? How is this happening? How did I end up here? Is this really my life? And so I just want to really bring everybody's attention to just of being in a connected state, recognizing your own self, and the power of your own emotional capacity, and also today recognizing the power of everybody else's emotional capacity in the world, to be able to impact ourselves, to impact each other. And so just to have start to begin to have such a strong sense of that. Hi, Gail. Oh, this is awesome to see everybody. Okay, so I'm going to wait 2 more minutes before I start moving into the more everything that is designed for today, and knowing that, as people often do, they will come on and join at the point in which they feel guided to do so. And what's really exciting about what we're doing today is that the recording for this will be taken and literally sent all over the world in post-production. And so all of us that are here today are going to be, just by our pure presence of hosting here today together, of co-hosting, we're creating such an empowering, intentional effect in the world, not only with our time spent here today, but with what my company, Dr.Tracy Inc., will do in post-production, and how this intentional International Intention Day is here to serve humanity on a massive, massive level. And so this would not be happening without all of you here who are showing up and have invited, the people in your lives to do so. And I just want to thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I know people who will never know any of us are benefiting from our presence here today. And of course, there's my husband, the fabulous Bruce McGovern, saying happy International Intention Day, and it definitely is. Okay, so let's see here. So we've got a group of you on, and I have this navigation telling me that if I dive right in, then everybody's going to start showing up. And so what I'm going to do, more people are going to be showing up as we go along. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to begin with sharing with you about this event, and take you through a guided process that I created for everyone. And I'm going to put my focus there. And so as you're all sharing and commenting, know that I'm going to be really digging in and diving in and sharing with you what it is that I've created for you. And so I really encourage all of you to support each other in shifting reactivity to intentionality on an individual level, on a collective level here today, with those of you that are on, and really truly feeling the way in which, when any of us shows up to make a change in ourselves and make a change in the world, the power of what's really happening and how truly impactful that is. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and just, again, formally, I want to just welcome everybody to International Intention Day and the International Intention Day event that we're having here right now today. I want to also acknowledge my incredible team and all that they do here at the Dr. Tracy Inc. company, supporting really supporting global intentionality every single day with everything that we do, in all of the content that we put out into the world, what we do for all of our individual clients, our private clients, our group clients, and our membership clients, and all that goes into creating people in this world who can live in a consistent, connected, intentional state rather than a consistently chaotic, reactive state. That that as people come to work with us, this is what they're here to change. And so for my team and all that they put into it on a daily basis, all that they do in holding a space for our clients and for people in all of our lives, and every single detail that they work on, and every intention that we hold together, and the way that we as a company every single day live inside our purpose of shifting all reactivity on the planet into intentionality, so that we can all experience the people that we really are. We can all emerge as the people that we truly are, making the contribution that we're here to make, living our full potential as people, and working at such a deep emotional level with our own selves and our own intentionality, so that we can transfer that to people like we're doing here today. And at the same time, I want to acknowledge all of my clients, all of the clients that have ever done emotional training with us, and what they do and how courageous they are, how much they dig in to all of these difficult reactions in their commitment to transforming them and to living their full potential. I want to also just acknowledge, all of my friends and family that support me in my purpose. And I want to, with that, have, just all of us follow along with me in acknowledging all the people in all of our lives who support us in our purpose and in our process and in our journey. My family, has known for a very, very long time, as well as my dear, dear friends, that I live inside this purpose of creating a truly international, intentional society, and that I live inside this purpose so much that there's no separation between who I am and what I do. And as I've joked with some of you at times, I am who I am, and I call it a job. And there are so many people that support this work. And that means there's so many people that support, just intentionality in the world, and having people live in an elevated emotional state. And so this is our intention today, right? Is that people that are on this training today and that are holding this space today, as well as everyone that you're all interconnected to, that you're aware of, and as well as everyone that we're all interconnected to in the world, that when we really acknowledge it, that we are all aware of, when we really ask ourselves to be aware of, we're here to make an incredible shift from global reactivity into global intentionality. I just want to just share with those of you who may not know me very well. You may be meeting me for the first time. My name is Dr. Tracy Thomas. Years ago, one of my coaches on my team started to call me Dr. T, and it just really felt like who I was, and I really got used to that name, and it just became, it really became the name that everybody calls me. And so I welcome all of you who may not know me very well yet, just to call me Dr. T, and I'm excited to have a relationship with all of you. I'm excited for all of you. I'm excited for all of you who are meeting me for the first time, that I get to meet you as well and share this important intention with you. Why I wanted to do this event today. There's many, many, many reasons. This has been something that has been in the making for a very, very long time. As somebody who my first memories are of watching, experiencing reactivity in my life. I knew from a very young age that it was my important purpose to help people be able to be happy and to help people be able to be the people that they actually are and the people that I could see them being. So I am somebody who's been an emotional scientist from the earliest stages of my life. And I am a formally trained psychologist. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm also an interventionist, and I've worked with people with all kinds of addictive disorders and co-occurring mental health disorders. And I've worked with some of the most complex cases in the world, eliminating these issues as if they never existed from the person. And my life is absolutely devoted to helping people elevate themselves out of the trenches of emotional illness and dysfunction and all of the things that creates. And so for a very, very long time, I've been studying emotions, and as a person who sees everything through a scientific lens, it's really allowed me to study what's happening with people's emotions and their reactions from a very objective standpoint. And so again, from a very early age, I was watching all of the emotions in my family, and I wasn't trying to do that. I was just really aware from just the earliest memories that I had of what was happening and what kind of reactions were occurring. And I was able to know the difference of whether or not somebody was in an intention or a reaction. And I could see the difference of what would happen when there'd be a reactivity and what would happen when there would be intentionality. And so one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to do this event on this particular day is because today is my dad's, what would have been his 70th birthday. And my dad, his name was Michael Henry Thomas. And 70 years ago today, he was born. And he has been an incredible mentor to me in my life. And it is through his life and some of the most amazing things that I have witnessed that I'm here before you today as an emotional scientist, here to create international intentionality. And that is in very large part due to him, as well as my amazing mother, who is, truly one of the most intentional people that I have ever known. And I've been really blessed that I've been raised by these parents, and my step-parents, Dwayne and Pat, I want to acknowledge very much, as well as people who created an emotional foundation for me. And so today, why I wanted to do International Intention Day on my dad's birthday is because what my dad taught me was that throughout his life, when he was in a state of intentionality, what he created was just phenomenal. It was just, he was one of these people that to witness him, he could just do it all. He could do everything. And yet when he was in reactivity, it was very, very, very chaotic and very difficult and very painful and ultimately very destructive. And it is through reactivity that my dad isn't with us today here in his earthly a condition, even though I know that he's here today and he supports this mission, which he's always been propelling me to do through a lot of different lessons that he's taught me in a lot of very interesting ways. But most importantly, I just want to acknowledge him and the life that he lived, and everything that he taught me was so powerful because he was an incredible person, an incredible world-class athlete, a very, very successful entrepreneur, a family leader, Somebody who, when he was in the flow of purpose and he was guided by purpose, he just created the American dream, and he created many things that felt like a dream come true for myself and my family. And when he was in a state of reactivity, which he could be in a lot, and he could be in for a long time in a row, he also created things that were like a complete nightmare for him and for me and for my family. And I'm going to use my intentionality here as my emotions coming up to say that I want to really turn the tide with that, with International Intention Day, because I know that so many people that are on this training, and so many people in the world, experience the exact same thing, whether it's in ourselves or within other people, or what's going on all over the world through the experience with the coronavirus, and what we all have witnessed as just a global pandemic issue that also created a global pandemic reactivity and a chain of reactivity that I really want to have us all make a transition for, so that we can really disrupt the reactivity and really today make a big global shift in intentionality, so that everybody can be present and available to do the things that they need to do in order to create what they need to create next. And this is a really, really important thing, because never before in human history maybe have we ever been required to be so focused and so intentional and so creative and so solution oriented. And it's going to take all of us coming together, doing it within our own selves and doing it with the people around us, and having them resonate with our intentionality, and having that intentionality be the most infectious thing that there is in this world right now, and ideally ongoing, right? Infectious intentionality is something that if all of you are up for that, make a comment and give me your affirmation that we want to create a world of infectious intentionality that just inspires people the way that intentions do, right? Because no different than reactions, where reactions are a chain of, there's a reaction, and then it goes through a chain of reactions, and we react to each other. And then we can end up just reacting to ourselves, right? Where some of the biggest reactions that we have are to our own selves. And the same thing is true when we are in a state of intentionality, which is my absolute favorite emotion of all. And any beginning of an intentional process, if we just connect to an intention, it begins to create a chain of intentionality, which is a really, really, really powerful thing. And it creates all of the great things in this world that we love, that we've wanted, that we've desired, and that we are. And so this is a really, really powerful thing to recognize the difference between what can happen in a chain reaction that is unintentional, and what can happen in a chain of intentionality, and the infinite resonating effect that goes on through the generations in this way that, here's how I break it down, which is that in the laws of physics, if a reaction is going and it's doing something that's impacting us in a negative way, that an object in motion will stay in motion until it is acted upon by another force, and that force is the force of intentionality. And the other flip side of it is the same as well, that a beautiful chain of intentionality, which is an object in motion, will stay in motion until it is acted upon by another force, which the way I see this as an emotional scientist is that force is often reactivity. And so we have this incredible opportunity to recognize that. And in all things that we are doing and saying and thinking and feeling, no matter what it is, we can really beautifully just slip in the flavor of intentionality, or we can recognize that even when we're doing wonderful things, we can, without meaning to, we can be in the flavor of reactivity. And we have the ability to just layer in that intentionality into every experience and live a much more elevated life, no matter what we're doing, no matter what we're rebuilding, no matter what problems we're solving, and no matter what creations we're creating. And it's really the most powerful realization that I've ever had. And I've been very, very fortunate to know this since I was 4 years old, and to keep building throughout my life what it is that I do with that, and the wonderful cumulative effect of intentionality, and also the recognition of the very powerful and often destructive effect of reactivity. And when we come together in a reverence of this understanding, then the power of what we do for the rest of our life, we will be in the absolute awareness of that, and we will use this arsenal of power as the force of nature that it really is. So, with that said, I want us to. I'm gonna begin. Believe it or not, this is the beginning. So, I'm gonna begin further by saying that shifting global reactivity into global intentionality, this happens by creating a connection with ourselves, right? So I want everybody to take that in, right? Everything happens by creating a connection to ourselves. And this connection to ourselves allows us to realize the powerful creative capacity that each one of us has for creating everything that we don't want by way of reactivity, and for creating everything that we do want by way of intentionality. The connection to ourselves allows us to recognize the level of reactivity that we are in, as well as the level of intentionality that we're in any given moment. The connection to ourselves allows us to acknowledge the depth of reactivity we are in versus the depth of intentionality that we are in at any given time. The connection to ourselves shows us the chain of reactions that we can sometimes struggle in, as well as the chain of intentions that we can thrive in. And the connection to ourselves allows us to witness how much of our time is spent in reactivity versus intentionality, so that we can be clear about what our powerful creative capacity is doing all of the time. The connection to ourselves helps us be clear whether we are in a reaction or whether we are in an intention at any single moment. And the connection to ourselves reflects whether we are in service to our reactions or whether we are in service to our intentions. Pain and suffering, or purpose and passion, we always choose the direction. The connection to ourselves takes us intentionally forward into the future, or painfully back into our past to relive it and react it out over and over and over. We are the ones that navigate backwards or forwards, straight ahead or in reverse. We have the power to go in either direction. The connection to ourselves puts us in the driver's seat so that we can select our reactions or our intentions at any turn. We are in the driver's seat, whether we realize we have the wheel or not. The connection to ourselves shows us that we are in control of how we experience everything. We are in charge. And the connection to ourselves reveals that we can simply select either reactivity or intentionality in every moment of every day. We call the shots. The connection to ourselves allows us to manage our emotions one connected moment at a time. We are all in control of our destiny. The connection to ourselves gives us an amazing choice to direct our focused attention in the direction that we want to go or the direction that we don't want to go. And we are always responsible to choose. The connection with ourselves reflects how essential it is to give ourselves directions, especially when we are in reactions. And we want to give those directions through the reactions until we are back in the state of our intentions. The connection to ourselves sets us up to effectively harness our reactions into our intentions over and over again, creating what we intend versus what we don't. We can either be effective toward what we want to create or affected by everything around us. Effective or affected, one or the other. The connection to ourselves is the opportunity to powerfully transform our reactions into our intentions, one after the other, and so on. Reactions or intentions, one or the other. The connection to ourselves is the emotional foundation from which we shift all of our reactions into intentions, one by one, so that we reside in our intentions instead of our reactions. The connection to ourselves elevates our emotional capacity to transform ourselves from a reactive state into an intentional state, and thereby elevating ourselves out of the pain of reactivity and chaos. The connection to ourselves elevates us. The connection to ourselves elevates our emotional ability to shift all of our reactions into our creations day in and day out through our entire lives. Reactions or creations, it's always our choice. The connection to ourselves builds epic emotional strength every time we choose an intention over a reaction, until we've conditioned ourselves from a reactive state of being into an intentional state of being, which is always our aspiration. The connection to ourselves allows us to stop reacting and elevate our lives by elevating our emotional status. And the connection to ourselves is the mechanism by which we create our lives intention upon intention upon intention, creating the most elevated existence regardless of external circumstances. Now, this one is a really important one, especially at this time, because it's the easiest thing to do, to believe that our external circumstances are what defines us and that they are limitations, when they are the next moment where we are here to grow that much more intentionally and taking the materials that are available to us and building intentionally, no exceptions. The connection to ourselves is the mechanism by which we elevate our external environment by elevating our internal environment out of the trenches of reactivity. We are the ones with our hands on the internal thermostat. And the connection to ourselves is the mechanism we use to create the world that we want to live in. A reactive world or an intentional world. Individually and collectively, we are creating it. The connection to ourselves is we are powerful creators. So we want to be responsible for what we are creating. And none of us is exempt. And this is really, really important, everyone. I know so many people feel that they hear that they're here with a purpose, and they think that, but then deep down they feel exempt, they feel purposeless or unimportant. And the reality is that every single person and what is going on with them, what's inside of them, and how that is resonating externally, no matter where they are in any corner of the world, in any situation, in any moment, we are all, when we are willing to realize it, we are all literally a global citizenry that is completely interconnected with each other. And there's so much that can happen where we are able to be in denial about that and compartmentalize that as if we are, out of the equation or not as important to it, or other people aren't as important. And the reality is that we are all experiencing each other's intentions or reactions, and that's happening in every single human, in every corner of the world. And in that way, everybody matters, and what we do and how we are, and at the foundational level, whether we're in reactivity or whether we're intentionality, we are all impacting each other. We are influencers of the highest order. And in fact, the greatest influence that we have, regardless of what we're doing, is to recognize whether we are in reactivity and to make the shift into intentionality. We are powerful creators of everything in existence, and our best intentions, and the best of our intentions are represented around the world, and the worst of our reactions are revealed in our global landscape. As it always is, our world is a reflection of all of our reactions and all of our intentions combined together. And right now, we are powerfully creating our outcomes either way. As it always is, for each of us, our life's trajectory that is a continuum from our ancestors is a reflection of all of the reactions and all of the intentions that have ever occurred throughout history. We are essentially a chain of reactions and intentions from the past, going toward the future throughout the entire world. We are unequivocally interconnected by global reactivity and global intentionality. And today we take ownership of that reality and the power we possess right here and now, indefinitely. As powerful creators, our lives will either be shaped more by reactivity or more by intentionality. And if we choose it, both individually and together, we can cultivate a life of global intentionality. As powerful creators, we've seen what a life of global reactivity can create. And given that we exist in global connectivity to each other, now it's time to choose global intentionality here on International Intention Day and every day of our lives together going forward. Connectedness to yourself, where you choose intentionality over reactivity, is the gift you give everyone in the world, including and especially yourself. Intentionality over reactivity is the way that everyone can change the world, and this is the most practical method of doing it. For everyone that has ever felt that they wanted to change the world, now is the time for you to step up into the powerful emotional leader you're capable of being. In fact, your intentionality is essential to the world, and your individual reactivity has the power to hurt humanity. So you are pivotal to the success of the planet. Period. End of story. Your commitment to shifting your reactions into intentions today and every day will lead us to the promised land right here on Earth. This is the collaboration that we're here doing together. On this International Intention Day, where we have the opportunity to shift the entire trajectory of the world and all the individuals in it through our intentions, please make this commitment to yourself and the world by commenting with the word intentions. The method is the practical, tactical way for each of us to live our purpose and potential. And I want to give you all 3 core techniques that you can use to build epic emotional strength so you can create a life of connected intentionality. The first one is to just stay connected to yourself all the time. And this is something that my mom taught me a long, long time ago when I was a kid. And she said, you've got to keep track of yourself. You've got to keep an eye on yourself. And she was joking at the time, but she was also serious. And she said, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in both sides of your family. And I just know that for all humans, we've all been subject to a lot of reactivity in our lives, plus a lot of awesome intentionality. And keeping track of yourself, staying connected and monitoring yourself to know whether you're in a reaction or an intention is really, really essential. So I really invite all of you to check in with yourself as much as you check your phone or Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok or all of these things that people are checking in with all the time. Use those moments to just check in with yourself to know where you're at. And when you're in a reaction, when you notice that you're in a reaction, simply choose your intentions by asking yourself this simple question: what's my intention? Right? Just ask yourself, what's my intention? And what's the most amazing part about that, everyone, is that we're all equipped with an internal navigation system that just knows the answer for us. It's the compass that tells us our truth, and it tells us what direction to go in. And it always knows. It knows when you ask yourself, what's my intention? There will always be an answer. And even though sometimes people have asked me, like, well, what if it doesn't come right away? And I think to myself, see, that's your reactivity, want to get like the second. So when you ask that question, and especially when you ask it without reactivity and you just have that question for yourself, there's always an answer. And you can ask it over and over again and say, what's my intention? And there'll be an answer. And the answer may be to get lunch. The answer may be to make a phone call. The answer may be to read a magazine. The answer may be to, create international intentionality in the world. And whatever the answers are, these are your answers. And when you ask yourself, what's my intention? If you need to ask it over and over to get more clarity about that, I promise you that the answers will be there. And then I absolutely encourage you to listen to them, because this is your navigation, giving you the indication of what direction to go. So when you're in a reaction, and I mean any reaction, any anxiety or frustration or difficulty, the way to interrupt that, right? The momentum of that reaction is to ask what your intention is, and then focus on those intentions more than the reactions. And that'll start to change your emotional state. And then you're now on the path to having a chain of intentions that start to inspire you, where an intention leads to another intention, to another intention. And this is really a fabulous thing. So if you need to say the word intentions over and over and over, I promise it'll walk you out of those reactions. And the next step is, when you do get the answer at any given moment, then just do that. Say and do only the things that will create your desired outcomes in order to be productive. And there are no exceptions to this. So if you get the answer and you want it to be something different, I promise you that whatever the actual answer is, that's the direction to go in. And the language of intentionality is essential, right? Speaking accurately to yourself and others about what you intend, it just creates a collaborative process that is effective. Having reactive and inaccurate language creates unintended outcomes. So just be clear from a place of intentionality always. So this method creates a really powerful cumulative emotional strength effect in your life. And this is how we can all experience the emotional strength effect of intentionality, which is really needed now more than ever. The great news is that you bring this incredible emotional intentionality to everything and everyone, and it just has application everywhere. And right now, everyone needs each of us to be the most intentional we've ever been, to elevate all of us out of the age of reactivity and to thrust us forward into the age of intentionality, starting this International Intention Day. The battle with our own reactions and each other's reactions can literally be over. With everyone's commitment, let's walk through this shift together. This is the moment to elevate our lives out of reactivity into intentionality. So let's start sharing our intentions together by commenting on what your intentions are. So let's stop reacting and elevate our world. And no matter what reactions are present for you right now or may come up as we go through this process of posting your intentions, this is the time to reorganize reactivity by stating as many intentions as possible. And with each new comment, each new intentional comment, we are building a new chain of intentionality that will forever change the trajectory of the world. So I'm going to ask you all, what are your intentions? And as you answer that question, feel free to keep typing them and commenting, and whatever they are, whatever your truth is, please share them so that we can all share in the intentional process together. So, what are your intentions? This is our question. And we can ask ourselves things like, what do we want to feel? This is an important question. This is an important intentional question. What do we want to feel? What do we want? Right? We ask ourselves, what do we want? And we get the answer, and we acknowledge that, and we share it, and we put it into the field of possibilities. And we can ask ourselves in what we want, who do we want it with? Who do we want it with? Who do we want to hang with? Who do we want to roll with? Right? I love it. Let's see what's coming in. This is awesome. I love it. This is awesome. Peace and comfort to my family, colleagues, and community. Awesome. Love it, Kates. So what are our intentions? We use this method to stay connected to ourselves, and we organize our reactions into our intentions. And just for everybody to know that when we're asking ourselves what our intentions are, for some people, they can feel a little reactivity in that as they get used to doing that and making that a way of being. And yet I just like to have a chuckle with that and know that all reactivity is a conditioned pattern, right? Because it's all around us. It's been in our ancestry for eons. And so we ask ourselves these questions and we answer them. And through every single moment of our lives that we bring forth an intention, we change the entire reactive conditioning and patterning that we can all end up being at the effect of. So we can ask ourselves, and I'll ask you, what do you want to experience? What in that intentional question, and what we want and what are our intentions, what do we want to experience? Another question that we can ask ourselves is, what do we want to create? right? This is a question I'm asking you, but this is a question to ask myself, to ask ourselves. All day, every day, I'll ask myself, what's my intention? What's my outcome? What do I want to feel? What do I want to create? We can ask ourselves, what do I want to build? We can ask ourselves, what do I want to be? I'll ask you, what do you want to be? What are your intentions there? Feel free to keep commenting and sharing them and building those intentions and building the inspiration of intention and learning to come into a state of intentionality, which is a beautifully elevated state to live in. And what's so great about that is we live right here, on planet Earth, interacting with everyone and everything. And yet our emotional state can be elevated. It can be absolutely inspired and intentional and consistent and connected. And you can use the method to stay connected to yourself and always shift your reactions into your creations. This is something that you can do anywhere. I have clients, sharing with me. I was in the middle of a presentation in Dubai. So I have a client was working in Dubai, and somebody in the audience she thought was making mean faces at her, and she was able to stay connected to her presentation and the outcomes she was doing because she kept saying, what's my intention inside of her own self? What's my outcome? And when she was getting the answers, right, to help everybody in the audience, that allowed her to stay connected to herself, rather than what can happen to human beings is we can actually be in just a simple conversation and not even realize it and shift out of our connected intentions into reactions. And then unfortunately, it's hard for people to completely follow us and what we're saying and to create connected communications and collaborations. So we ask ourselves, right, what do we want to create? What do we intend? Another one, where do I want to go? This is a directional question for us. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to be? And we keep connecting to that, and we keep asking ourselves questions of intention that give us the answers. And the thing with this, everyone, is that it's not about just doing this one time or occasionally or intermittently when we just kind of feel like it. It's a process that when you make it your priority as a way of being beyond what we're doing today, you'll ask yourself those questions so many times and you'll get the answers so many times that you'll begin to live in a state of connected intentionality. And in that way, it'll be you'll be very aware of the difference between when you are dropping out of connected intentionality into a reaction, and you'll be able to say, oh, boom, there's that reaction, there's that distraction, there's that disruption, and you'll be able to make that shift again by asking yourself, what's my intention? And getting the answer and reconnecting yourself to yourself so that you stay in a connected state, right? A state where you are in awareness and where you are following your intentions rather than following your reactions, which can take the shape and form of disruptions and distractions and things that are not necessarily where you meant to be driving in any given day or any given moment or in your life in general. Right? So you can use the method to stay connected to yourself and transform your reactions into your outcomes. And so I'll ask you again, what are your intentions? And to be very specific with yourself and to be specific about what they are. And if you don't know what they are, or you don't have the level of specificity on them, then that's just the invitation to get that much more clear by using the method to continually be connected with yourself, know if you're in a reaction or an intention, and select your intentions by asking yourself the question, what is my intention? And the further you go into that intention, you'll get your answer. You'll get your answers. And once you have an answer to one piece of your intention, you can then expand it into what else comes along with that intention. And you want to go into great detail because you're an architect, right? And you're creating your life in detail. Right? And life is lived in detail. So we want to create in detail because we're the powerful creators of every single detail of our experience. And this is why living in a state of reactivity or struggling with reactivity for any single human being, let alone our whole collective, creates a lot of chaos because our powerful creative capacity is very much needing to be spent in the intentional detail of your life. And that means, again, the what and the how and, every single detail of what are you doing and how much time, how much of this outcome and how much of this income. And, just thinking of a client that I worked with recently, a youngster who I asked her, to share with me some of her intentions that were present for her in general. And so I said, so what's an intention that you have? And immediately she said, to go on a family trip to Hawaii. And so she made that answer. And while that could have been the end of the answer and the end of her creative process and the end of our creative process together, I'm a collaborator of her creating her outcomes. So I asked her which island, and she said Maui. And I asked her when, and she said next summer. And that could have been the end of that as well. And that's how the creative process would have gone for her. And it might not have landed her where she wanted to go. So I said, what month? And she said June. And I asked her the dates. And she thought about it and she gave it to me. I asked her, all the details about what she would be doing on Maui with her family. And the asking of that question, as I saw her responding, it was a really fascinating thing because there she was in a creative moment, and she was 13 years old. She's 13 years old. And right there in that moment, she and I could feel the reality of what she was creating next summer in Maui. And just like what I did with her, and just like what I'm inviting you all to do, that moment of creativity instead of reactivity is a moment that we want to live in, right? We want to live inside of our intentions, and we don't just say it and then move on. This is something that, as a way of being, it's very important for us to live in our intentions rather than existing in our reactions. So we create outcomes by living there over and over and over and over again, rather than living in our reactions over and over and over and over again. And we've got the power to choose this. And right now I have the power to choose to plug in my computer, which I'm going to do. Excuse me. So we're all very familiar with living inside of our reactions. And then guess what? Everyone else gets to live inside of our reactions, and that's not very fun for everyone. And that, again, creates a resonating effect that we don't intend. So it's incredibly important for ourselves and for international intentionality to exist by each of us in our own leadership of ourselves, living inside those intentions each and every day and having no separation from them. Because if you'll start to notice from this day forth, you'll notice that you're either living inside your reactions or your intentions. And I invite you to be focused on the vision for your life going forward. You can ask yourself, what are your specific purposes, right? What's my purpose? And sometimes my purpose is, like I said earlier, to get lunch for myself, and that's a purpose. And if I was in a reaction, I might not know that, or I might have a story all about what I should have done or should be doing. And our purposes, which are beautifully expansive and also very much in the daily details of living, these are the purposes to be focusing on. And our reactions, they're not the place for us to reside if we're looking for peace and well-being and health and enjoyment. Questions that we can ask ourselves are, what are the contributions that we're here to make? What do we want to contribute? And these are more intentional questions that are not just a one-off. They're not just a here or there. This is a process and a way of being that every single time that you are in a reaction, you can ask yourself, what's my intention? And any version of that question that is about what you're creating forward will elevate you out of those reactions, and it will create the creations that you intend. So keep harnessing your emotions into your outcomes by staying connected to your intentions, and use the method to stay connected to yourself and direct your reactions into your intentions. Everyone, I want you to know that our powerful creative capacity is always on. You know, if you notice, the mind does not turn off. Our beings don't really turn off. And even when we're asleep, our beings are going through a process of integrating our experience. And so when the motor is always on, it's important to give it directions and stay connected to our intentions. These are the directions that are driving our life. Keep your focused attention on your future you're creating every single moment through the reactions or intentions that you have, and continue to state your intentions, because either way, this is creating your life. The method is really the practical path to living your purpose and potential. And I invite each of you to use the method in every single moment of every single day for the rest of your life, so you can live an elevated life of connection, intention, and creation. If you accept this invitation to a life of conscious creation, comment by saying, I accept, and then sharing this with everyone you know. Now, all of you who have registered for this event, just so you know, this day of global intentionality doesn't end with our time here. It really just begins today. And you can also you can also continue it with our Global Intention Day workbook, our International Intention Day workbook, which you should have received if you registered for the event. And if you have registered, I believe you can still register in case you just came onto the live now. And inside, you're going to discover more about this groundbreaking psychological framework that shifts emotional reactions and into powerful intentions, so that we can all create the outcomes we want for ourselves and for each other. This process stops reactivity in its tracks, and it amplifies our power to create the positive, effective, peaceful world that we all want. Called the method, it's the same scientific process I use with all of my private practice clients, people that are celebrities, people that are professional athletes, CEOs, top performers, anybody who needs to stop reacting so that they can live their true purpose and potential. And as you go through this workbook, you're not only going to be able to direct your intentions, but you're also going to have some burning questions answered. So questions like, how do I stop the emotional roller coaster of anxiety, fear, depression, and hopelessness I'm feeling, which I know a lot of people are feeling, especially right now. You're going to have the answers to questions like, why are emotional reactions so destructive, and why are they creating a world of pain and chaos? There's going to be answers in the workbook that are going to support you through making this change and sharing it with everyone. And questions like, what is the real secret to creating a life of my dreams? There's more detail in the workbook of how you can do that. How do I live my purpose and potential? Do I actually have the power to elevate the world? And more in-depth detail is available there. And how to show this process to your family and friends and peers. Because, what's really powerful about this is I always wanted to be able to have an emotional framework and a relational and a communication framework that was simple and easy for anyone to use. This is something that a 7-year-old can use, and I have so many people's children in our practice as clients that are using this incredible emotional framework in their life and making it a part of their everyday family life. And this is something that you can show others how to do as you practice it and bring it into your family. Still better, this workbook is designed so that as you're going through it, you're literally going to roll up your sleeves and engage immediately with where you are in each of these areas by just filling in the blank areas provided below with each question and answer that you have. And in the workbook, I dive deeper beyond what I've shared with you today here, so that today, International Intention Day, will mark a point in time that you will look back on this day when you started shifting to living a life of intention, and how this now will become a new normal. In conclusion, everyone, just a reminder that you are a powerful creator, whether you're creating negative reactions or productive intentions that influence and impact others. So it's just really vitally important that you take responsibility for what you create in every moment, no matter what life throws your way. Because, this is, I think, for all of us in our lifetime, this moment where, this is the biggest thing that we've ever experienced with the virus, and there just is no exception. We're all responsible for what we're creating. And creating a chain of intentions that are stacked together will build a massive emotional strength effect that shifts beyond the momentum of reactivity. This effect will uplift all of our fellow citizens who need us to intentionally and powerfully create the best emotional environment in the world. Writing this next chapter together as creators will heal, rebuild, and elevate our lives to the next level by changing all of our reactions into our creations starting now. No matter the situation you face, no matter what's happened in the past, no matter how terrible, and really honestly, no matter what, the way forward for all of us is through our intentions. And now more than ever, we need everybody to stay connected to their intentions. That's the most powerful contribution we can give to each other and the world that we share together. Thanks to all of you for joining me today. This has been just exceptional to be with you and to share International Intention Day with you and this event. And I'm just so deeply, deeply grateful for the time that we've spent together. Everything that you have all shared on this training and on this at this event, and I really invite you to share this with as many people as possible. This recording is going to be sitting on our Facebook page and in our group called The Art of Self-Control and the Emotional Sensitivity Revolution, which is for people that are really emotionally sensitive and really, really struggling with reactivity. And my company in post-production is going to be sending this all around the globe to create international intentionality. So for each person that you share this with, I know that they will just deeply feel so grateful for receiving it. And I thank you for helping me with something that I've been wanting to create in the world since I was 4 years old. And today, getting to do this with you is just my absolute privilege. So thank you, everybody, and take care. And I'll be thinking about you and all that you shared with me today, and just sending you my absolute best each and every day. I love you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.